I'd say that's fine. Like, so if I've already picked something on dialogue that says I don't like nugs, well, I feel fine as the writer to go ahead and have the player say a few lines
Are
about
you
those
sure?
bastard
I'm
nugs.
sure.
Yeah. Or if it's innocuous, like you said, go on, or things that just basically any reasonable person might say that in this situation. But yeah, if it's opinions, then no.
Yeah.
That's where we sort of draw the line on a conceptual level.
I've got spiders. We've got spiders up in here.
Goddamn spiders.
Yes. You're not the biggest fan.
I'm not the biggest fan.
No. I just got a crit, though. That's why I sundered. So then the one interesting question is...
It's a very complicated word, Mike.
It is. But on the upside, many of our fans are novel readers, so I think we're good. Speaking of, Dave.
Speaking of,
what's different between novels and games? You've lived on both sides of that fence. Oh wait, this is like the Fade Rift of Doom.
Is it really?
I don't think I'm going near this one. This area is gorgeous and deadly because the demons are quite high level.
Oh right.
Yeah. Anyway, novels.
Novels. Well, the part about novels is that you're working on it basically by yourself, right? I mean, it has some ups, and that you know, like you can pull it out, out of your mind completely. It is by yourself. And if I want to have the characters take a quick jaunt to some location, I don't have to worry about whether we can 3D model it.
Right. That's true. That is true.
So yeah, there's that. But you are on it by yourself. I have to say that sometimes it's sort of a mixed bag. We're freaking spiders.
It's a spider cave.
Yeah, well, yeah. But it is the fact that you are working on it by yourself that is kind of tough as well, because I have to say that after years of working as part of a team, you sort of are used to that collaboration that the team has together.
Being able to kind of call the group together and go, okay, I need help with X because it isn't gelling for me.
Can you talk to party members at any time, Origin? Will they confront you? Oh. Anytime in the camp, like at your base.
Yeah,
yes.
so that one comes up a fair amount. Like, could I just go and click on Sarah? We decided not to go with that. Instead, our goal is that you head back to base, click on them. They will talk to you. That you can ask them questions again.
Yeah, the questions will change over time, and sometimes when you click on them, they will have conversations that they start.
Can I? Do you mind if I talk about that one romance thing we did?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, you don't know what it is, so I'm just going to do it. So this was popular request. I kind of thought it was cool. If you're in the romance, fairly down the line, can you kiss him?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
Yeah. Plant one on me. Yeah, lots of people get that. I just, we're running a little on time. Before we go on, I do want to talk. Well, we got about 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 20. There's a bunch of questions come up.
Is there?
Yeah, but. The thing I did want to point out, since we're on our last stream of the day, I don't think we've shown this yet, but we wanted to get one of our mounts people don't see right off the bat. I'm not going to tell you how you get this, but this is what the Dracolisk looks like. It's kind of this awesome lizardy, horned thing. It comes in different patterns as well.
It's like a Guillermo del Toro unicorn.
Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I like it, so spindly and yeah, lots of fun. Mounts were a fun challenge to get into the game. They don't really apply to writing too much, other than a very grumpy horse master.
Oh, Luke was the one who handled
Actually,
all of them.
he did write descriptions for all the mounts. Yeah. there's one class that are of particular humor, but yeah, it's yeah. What was it? Avar, battle saddled and Avar trained.
Yeah.
Somehow. Yeah. But yeah, these are.
I just remember when I saw the battle nug came in and like we saw the art for it, and I'm like, I just sort of was like, I can't even, and Luke just said, I'll take care of it.
I'll take care of it, Mr. Gator. This one's kind of crazy eyes, so it's kind of mad doggy lizard eyes.
Turn around?
Yeah.
With its eyes?
It's mad dogging.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's got no time for your
It's like Cheerios.
That's right. Lizard eyes are weird, man.
Yeah.
All right, so then, well, that's actually interesting. So right there, Avar trained, okay? Avar are a culture in the world. One that we had actually only really, I think, alluded to in the previous games.
You could meet some Avar, but that's probably about it.
Yeah, and mostly it was chastened during Origins, and not many came up anywhere else. So what kind of approach do you guys use for, when you're doing your cultural building or researching kind of the different, things you want to explore?
Well, we will give a writer will be a champion for it, right? So say, excuse me, Sylvia's working on a Sylvia Fekete is one of my writers. So she's working in the area that has Avar. She wants to do Avar, so she will sort of champion it and look at what we have already. Decide, what can go in a codex, what would be some interesting things to put into sort of plots. The stuff we have becomes sort of a springboard for some quest ideas, and then probably establish some new things, and they'll talk to me and say, oh, I'd like to do this and this, and sort of bring up some new knowledge for the players to encounter, and we'll talk about it as a group if it's an issue, or just sort of try to figure out what would be interesting and how to impart that information without doing just complete info dump.
Yeah. Well, I like the explanation they have in the bog, where you kind of have that large, shaman who doesn't agree with what's happening necessarily, but he's happy to tell you about his religion. I thought that was a very cool way to slide some extra detail in them. And then so we should probably talk about how we maintain all this lore. Obviously, I've mentioned this in a few interviews, but I mean, we honestly had to hire a crime reporter.
Yeah, we did. Ben Jelena is one of our editors who came in and thankfully corralled all our information into a proper wiki, because at that point it was starting to get sort of burdened down with a lot of legacy information, and then relying on my memory is not going to help anyone, because I have this issue where I was there during the first sort of stages of world development, and we changed a bunch of things, but sometimes I'll just forget that, oh yeah, that place, that name has changed, or that bit of history we threw out like 6 or 7 years ago. And it's kind of like people hold me responsible for it sometimes. It's like, oh, come on, it's like 6 or 7 years.
You are but one man.
I am but one man. Yeah.
Well, what was it? The Anderfels went through like a total name change at one point.
Yeah, it was Orthland at one point, and
every once in a while I'll see a document where we mentioned the Orths or something.
Yeah, well, and I'll be talking to somebody and I'll roll out, Orthland or something, and everybody will just sort of blink.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
The what? The who?
I think Gator's falling asleep again.
Yeah, this place in Vistas.
Yeah.
This is good fun. I think that's pretty good. And then
so Ben organized that finally for us into a wiki, and that made it quite nice. And he became sort of the our lore guy that if we weren't sure about something, we would check with him. I even ended up doing it too. Rather than relying on my memory, I'll just go, Ben, have I ever said this in the lore? And I'll go, blah, and he'll say, oh, yeah, he'll link me to it immediately. I'll be like, right, yes, now I remember.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah. And thankfully we have it all written down.
Have it all written down.
Though we're going to have to go do that for Inquisition, because Inquisition introduces a few new concepts.
Oh, God, there's so much new stuff. It's been hard, too, because a lot of the fans, they'll go on stuff, and they're still operating at Dragon Age 2 level of information, right? And it's because we've been sort of in this for several years now. For us, it sort of feels like old hat, so you almost forget. You'll be like, well, why are you saying that? Oh, right, you don't know that yet.
Not yet.
Yeah,
soon.
Not yet.
Probably midnight Eastern time?
Yeah, it'll probably go on the fan wiki by midnight, probably.
Good. If it's not going up already.
If it's not up there already. They're sort of prescient. They're like, I believe we will get new information on Orlais. Off they go.
Boy, I love the level design team. There's always something when I run to an outcrop.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. Like the miss. So then the one other thing I think is speaking of like, how the world flows and the things we have to track. We always have to track when things are different based on what you did. So we implemented the new choice wheel.
Right.
Now what was kind of your metric on when something became a choice wheel? For those who aren't familiar with it, it's when the game actually tells you will do X, you will, this will happen.
Yeah,
based on a choice. It is optional.
We have delineations as developers between the different types of wheels. For us, there are 3.
Right.
There's the choice wheel. That's when you're actually saying, I am going to do something. There's the tone wheel, which was, I'm going to make a decision about how to say something. And and then we have what new is the reaction wheel. We call it, where I'm going to ask the player if they would like to have an emotional reaction to something. Oh, look at that! And
right into a cave.
Right into a cave.
That's probably bad.
Cassandra's in the cave mouth going,
Inquisitor,
shaking her head at you. Oh. But in terms of when to use them, we sort of established some guidelines for the choice wheel. We use it in 2 situations, right?
Yep.
One is when the player is going to decide on an action. And we we're not just sort of talking about how we feel about the action. It is where you actually are going to do something, particularly if there's going to be divergence based on that action.
Right.
We're going to telegraph to the player, okay, this is an important moment. Now those choice wheels will sometimes, if it's a really big decision, they'll like sparkle and they'll be like, ooh, I wonder if this is important. And then we have choice wheels where I'm going to ask for the player's opinion.
Right.
And the opinions can't really be divided neatly into the tones like noble, clever, and direct are sort of the tones we do. Although the icons are.
And those are basically just the same tone, just sort of a writing guideline.
Tone. We've always used the tones. We ever since the Baldur's Gate, we basically followed the same tone.
They are less. I don't want to say less distinct as if it's a bad thing. I mean less divergent than what we did with Hawk. I think.
Yes. Back in Dragon Age 2, the 3 names we gave to the tones, and they had icons on their choices as well, was aggressive.
Noble and sarcastic, was it?
Well, it sure was sarcastic, but I think it was humorous.
But may not have ended up.
Our brand of humor sort of leaned slightly towards sarcasm.
Swooping is.
It is terrible. What was aggressive, humorous, diplomatic?
Diplomatic. That's right. You're right.
Right. And I think after we'd sort of had gone and written much of that game, we were almost towards the end, and we're like, the problem I think is that there was a little bit too much space between those tones.
They were. I thought they were. And I mean, you know, at the time, we wanted it because Hawk was a little more limited as a character. We wanted to give more opportunity for a choice, but at the same time, I think it pushed too far.
Yeah, I think the part of it was in the performance of the voice actors.
Yep.
Part of it was maybe in their intention, sort of. I think that the real issue became if you were playing and you were picking different tones, the Hawk could come across as a little schizophrenic.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas I think the Inquisitor mellows out a bit more,
well,
which is kind of impressive given that we had 4 separate recordings.
Yes. Well, we wanted to bring in the difference between the tones a little bit, just so that you could play different tones, like pick different options and not feel like you were playing a different character.
Right.
But keep them the same. So that's why we renamed them. It's just the naming of the tones into direct instead of aggressive, noble instead of diplomatic, and clever instead of humorous was just for writing purposes, just so that when we wrote them, we kept a bar of how that should feel.
Right.
Rather than humorous being sort of the really wise cracking, and the problem with that too was that they required Hawk to sort of joke in every circumstance, even if sometimes it was
especially during sad moments,
yeah.
and that could be I think it was to a degree off-putting, and so that's
sometimes
why I really
he became douche Hawk a little.
I think so, which is usually it's a canoe, but the nice thing was that I think this new one with an actual like how do you feel about that kind of emotional set of icons is a lot more powerful.
Yeah,
directly.
And that led us to is if we brought in the tones a little bit so that they occupy the same emotional, if not the same space, the same ballpark.
Right.
That also allowed us then for the reaction wheel for us to look at, okay, we rarely want to force emotion onto the player, but sometimes our feeling was, as writers, was that left us forcing the player be stoic, even at times where maybe stoicism wasn't called for. So the reaction wheel allows us to say, do you want to be stoic? If so, that's totally an option. We have the stoic, I'm not bothered by this moment whatsoever.
Exactly. So one last thing. Something that I think is neat and just would like to touch on is the addition of what I would call big supporting cast.
Right.
So the specialists, obviously Liliana, Cullen, and Josephine being huge additions to the game, and then characters like Scout Harding who have a big impact. That
was the character that just sort of grew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Scout Harding was like she's kind of the contextual lodestone for all of these explorations.
Well, at one time she was just Inquisition's scout.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
the character who would occasionally talk to you as you entered an area.
All she said was "sir," just "sir" because gender neutral SER. But so the big thing then is that bringing those in. What kind of unique challenges did that have, and what kind of opportunities?
For the supporting cast?
For like having a big supporting cast who aren't part of the party.
Oh, well, I think it's just developing a relationship with them that isn't necessarily dependent upon them traveling with you,
Right.
particularly for your advisors. I mean, I think one concern that people had that I read when we talked about people like Cullen and Josephine being romances was the idea that they would somehow be secondary romances because you couldn't possibly have as much interaction with them
Yeah.
as you would with a follower.
I wouldn't say was the case.
No, but I mean, it's hard to reassure people of that because yeah, you do spend a lot of time with your followers. So when we start talking about the advisors, it's like, well, you interact with them at the war table a whole lot and in your base a whole lot, but without showing somebody the context of the entire game. Talking about the war table itself, and
right.
if they don't know what those things are, it's how can you sort of compare it, right? So yeah, the idea was, okay, we have these characters like your advisors that have as much content as your followers, but we have to sort of allocate it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because they don't have approval, for instance. So how are we going to gate the relationship with these characters if there is no approval that works exactly the same?
Yeah, and I think that for me, a lot of ways, I think it was nice because it gave you guys a different storytelling arc to some degree. They were less likely to be out in the wilds, and yet there are, I don't want to spoil it but there are some instances where they actually do kind of join you in the field.
Yes.
And that feels extra special all of a sudden. I think that's really cool when you meet them somewhere other than where they're usually at. Just kind of taking a look, man. The concept team did such an amazing job with these cards.
I remember when the concept art team started rolling out these cards. So it's great.
Yeah.
Of course, they started rolling out the cards, and then the writers got into this big talk about whether the symbolism was appropriate.
Right.
When you had a card that matched one in the tarot deck, well, we got a few tarot aficionados on the team, and we're like, I don't think that they should be the hermit. Perhaps they should be the fool instead. And got this weird conversation with the concept artist. It went down like 3 layers of rabbit holes, I swear to God.
What exactly is Iron Bull cupping? Because, he's the king
of Cups.
Oh, yeah. All right. On that classy note, I think we're going to wrap it up. So that has been Twitch stream right basically through the day. They got me in here at 9 a.m. and I hadn't even had a cup of coffee and said, here, play the game. And I went, that was fun. That was a fun way to start the day.
Did you start it?
Yeah, at 9. It was awesome with Mark and Cam. And then people have been here throughout the day. So we've had Lady Insanity. Ash has been up here playing. Obviously, you've been here. Allegra Clark made a cameo.
Yeah.
Lots of cool stuff. We're basically going to wrap things up here. About 5 minutes left. So, of course, what are the big notes for today? Well, we've been showing you Dragon Age Inquisition. It's out basically midnight tonight, depending on how you like to get your games.
Oh yeah.
We're going to be over.
We're
going to be over at our local EB Games and meeting some folks and signing. You coming to that?
I am.
Awesome. Cool. Additionally, so wherever the game is, I mean, it may have unlocked in your region. If so, I very much hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're having fun. We'll keep an eye on feedback and stuff. We've been reading the reviews. We'll look at where is working and isn't working. Of course, we're going to continue to support the game. Extend the multiplayer mode is already in the works. We'll be getting the plans for that out at some point. And we'll probably look at some extended content and patches and all that good stuff's going to happen. Ultimately, for those of you who have watched, if any of you have watched from the beginning, wow, that's pretty awesome. Thank you so much. And for everyone who tuned in as well, I think we are going to rebroadcast the day. So if you want to catch up on a specific part, just before us, there was the art guys, Matt Rhodes, Andre Santos, and Matt Goldman. Awesome talk. They couldn't stop saying art book because it's good too. But they talked through some of their processes, and it's nice. They said very nice things about the writing team.
Did they?
They did. So good view. And then finally, just to wrap up, we've got a little treat for you guys. We just had our kind of like last for Inquisition, I guess, team meeting.
Oh yeah.
Kind of a nice wave and a hello from the whole team to you guys.
So much sugar.
Bilza?
No, sugar.
Oh, I thought you were doing an errand. And so, I guess you need a pink shirt to pull that off. Oh, I made the crew laugh. Yes. Ultimately, that's what we're going to wrap with. Hopefully, you guys had a chance to check out the new trailer today. We got some other fun, cool stuff coming up this week. And we're just ultimately going to be enjoying launch. And probably a whole bunch of us will be on.
So nice to have this done.
I know. There'll probably be a bunch of us on multiplayer tonight as well.
I'm really looking forward to hearing the fans' response.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, we're going to wrap it there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Here's a video from the team, again, saying thank you. And, thanks for checking us out. Hope you enjoy the game.
We're just going to quickly say hi to Twitch. Everyone say hi. I just want to start today by having a toast to all of you guys. Hopefully everyone got something to drink of some sort. To the Dragon Age team, thank you. Thank you.